I'd rather drink aged alligator piss on the rocks with a lemon and a bendy straw before I let one of you nappy-headed Neanderthals play with my motherfucking heart again.
I just really hate when a bitch be like, oh yeah, you know not to play with me. Who? I'm finna EA Sports. It's in the game. Yo,
A fight between neighbors on Christmas Day coming to an end with gunfire and the death of a woman.
This argument in the parking lot of a Lauderhill apartment complex tragically turned deadly Christmas night. Police officers say they found a woman dead at the Sunny Lake Apartments after neighbors got into an argument.
This is the story of Octavia Stewart. Christmas lights blink red and green across a Florida parking lot. Mariah Carey plays from someone's Bluetooth speaker. The smell of jerk chicken hangs in the humid night air. 10:30 p.m., December 25th, 2025. Then, a gunshot. Not a firecracker. A gun. One bullet that makes every conversation stop, every head turn, every child freeze mid-laugh. By the time the sirens arrive, Octavia Stewart is already gone. 36 years old. Mother. Wife. Lying on the pavement in an orange dress. Christmas lights reflecting off the blood pooling beneath her. The man who pulled the trigger? He's still standing there, waiting, calm, and here's what's going to keep you watching. He hasn't been arrested. Not because he ran, not because police can't find him, but because Florida law might say what he did was perfectly legal. A parking spot, 12 hours of arguing, 1 moment of rage, and now a little girl spends every Christmas without her mother. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the man who killed Octavia is free right now. You'll see what the surveillance cameras captured. You'll hear what witnesses said happened in those final 10 seconds, and you'll have to decide for yourself. Was this murder, or was this the only choice he had? But before you answer that, you need to know who Octavia was before a neighbor dispute turned her into a headline. Because what happened that night in Lauderhill, Florida could happen in any apartment complex in America, including yours. Welcome to Hot True Crime Stories. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon so you won't miss out on our important true crime documentary.
You was gonna let them run a train on you? No, you overreacting as usual, Diamond. Oh, I'm overreacting? No, you tripping. How am I supposed to watch you when you keep trying to lead the club all the time? Watch me? Wait a minute now,
Octavia Stewart wasn't a statistic waiting to happen. She was Tay to her friends, the woman who lived at Sunny Lake Apartments in Lauderhill for years. Long enough that neighbors knew her routine, knew the sound of her voice calling her daughter to come inside, knew she didn't take disrespect lightly. She was a wife. A mother to a young girl who probably spent that Christmas morning tearing open presents, not knowing it would be the last normal day of her childhood. She ran a small business. The specifics don't matter to the news cycle, but they mattered to her family. They mattered to the life she was building. Her social media showed someone vibrant, someone who posted about her daughter's achievements, someone who'd argue in comment sections about everything from politics to the best spots for Caribbean food in Broward County. Friends say she had a temper, that when she felt wronged, she spoke up. Loudly. She didn't back down when she thought she was right. And on Christmas 2025, that refusal to back down cost her everything. But here's what you need to understand about Sunny Lake Apartments. It's not some crime-ridden project. It's a regular middle-class complex where people know each other, where kids ride bikes in the parking lot, where neighbors borrow sugar and complain about the noise from the unit above them. The kind of place where you think you're safe. The kind of place where a parking spot argument shouldn't end in death. But it did. Because the tension between neighbors at Sunny Lake had been building for days. Small things. A passive-aggressive note left on a windshield. A noise complaint to the leasing office. Music played too loud on a Tuesday night. The kind of friction that builds when people live too close and communicate too little. And on December 25th, when a man showed up to spend Christmas with his family, all that friction found a spark. Have you ever had a neighbor who made your blood boil? Someone who parked in your spot or talked to you the wrong way? Most of us let it go. But what happens when someone doesn't? When pride becomes more important than peace? Drop your honest answer in the comments. Because Octavia probably asked herself the same question, December 25th, 2025. Christmas morning, families at Sunny Lake Apartments are doing what families do on Christmas. Opening presents, cooking, blasting holiday music through open windows. But by 10 a.m., something is already brewing. A man, a visitor. There to celebrate with his relatives, parks in a spot that Octavia considers hers. Not officially. There are no assigned spaces at Sunny Lake, but anyone who's ever lived in an apartment complex knows the unwritten rule. Your spot is the one you've been parking in for years, and someone just took it. At first, it's just words. Heated, but manageable. That's my spot. It's not assigned. I've been parking here for 3 years. Well, I'm here now. Most of us would walk away, grumble, find another spot, move on with Christmas. But Octavia doesn't, and neither does he. Witnesses say the argument went on for 12 hours, off and on, voices rising, then dropping, then rising again. By afternoon, it's not about the parking spot anymore. It's about respect, about who's going to back down first, about pride. Family members on both sides are watching, some trying to calm things down, others adding fuel. The Christmas celebration continues around them, music still playing, food still being passed around, but everyone can feel the weight in the air, the kind of tension that makes your chest tight even when you're just watching from a window. And here's where it gets dangerous. Alcohol is flowing, music is loud, inhibitions are low, and at some point, someone mentions that they're armed. Not as a threat, just a statement of fact. I'm carrying, you're carrying, so let's both calm down. Except that's not how it works. When you know the person you're arguing with has a gun, the argument doesn't calm down. It becomes a standoff. The man Octavia is arguing with isn't alone. His family is there. His relatives watching from their apartment doorway, trying to figure out when to step in, when to pull him back inside. But nobody does, because in that moment, walking away feels like losing, and nobody wants to look weak in front of family on Christmas. By 10 p.m., there are at least 3 guns in that parking lot. Octavia has one, the man has one. Someone else in the crowd, maybe trying to keep the peace, has one. Ring cameras are recording. Surveillance footage is capturing every gesture, every step forward, every hand movement, and not a single person calls 911. If you saw guns being pulled in an argument between neighbors, would you call the police? Or would you assume someone else already did? Be honest in the comments, because that assumption is why Octavia Stewart is dead. And if this story is making you think differently about conflict, hit that like button. It helps more people see what really happened that night. 10:25 p.m. The argument has been going on for 12 hours. Everyone is exhausted, emotionally drained, physically tired, but nobody has left. Surveillance footage, grainy, soundless, haunting, shows what happens next. Octavia Stewart, wearing an orange dress, she steps forward. Her movements aren't calculated. They're frantic, emotional, overwhelmed. She's reached her breaking point, and in her hand is a gun. She raises it, not smoothly, not like someone who's practiced this moment. She waves it, pointing it in the general direction of the man and his family. Is it a threat? Is it a bluff? Is it a desperate attempt to make everyone back off and finally go inside? We'll never know, because the man sees the gun, and in that fraction of a second, he makes a decision that will end one life and change countless others. He raises his own weapon and fires one bullet. The sound is so loud that car alarms 3 buildings over start screaming. Dogs bark. A child somewhere starts crying. For 2 seconds, there's complete silence, like the whole complex is holding its breath. Then the screaming starts. People scatter, running in every direction, stumbling over each other to get away. Someone yells, "Call 911, call 911." And in the middle of the parking lot, Octavia Stewart is on the ground. Orange dress. Christmas lights still blinking, not moving. Paramedics arrive at 10:32 p.m., 7 minutes after the shot. But it doesn't matter. The bullet struck her in the head. She was gone before she hit the pavement. Her wife is there screaming, trying to reach her. Neighbors hold her back. Her sister stands frozen, unable to process what just happened. And the man who shot her? He's still standing there. Weapon lowered, hands visible, waiting for police. He doesn't run, doesn't try to hide what he's done. When officers arrive, he cooperates, answers questions, points to the surveillance cameras. She had a gun, he tells them. She pointed it at me. I thought she was going to shoot. Police interview witnesses. They review the footage. They see Octavia with the gun, see her raise it, see her pointing it toward people in the crowd. They take statements from everyone involved, from the man who fired, from residents who watched it all happen. And then they make a decision that sends Octavia's family into complete shock. No arrest. The man who shot and killed Octavia Stewart on Christmas night walks out of that parking lot and goes home. If someone points a gun at you, do you have the right to shoot first? Even if they haven't fired? Even if you don't know whether they're actually going to pull the trigger? What would you have done in that split second? Tell me in the comments, because this is the question that's tearing Florida apart right now. Florida Statute 776.012. Stand your ground. If you're not from Florida, you need to understand how this law works, because it changes everything about this case. Here's the foundation. If you're somewhere you have a legal right to be, your home, your car, a parking lot you're visiting, and you reasonably believe someone is about to kill you or cause you serious harm, you can use deadly force to protect yourself. You don't have to retreat. You don't have to try to escape. You don't have to exhaust every other option first. You can stand your ground. And here's the part that makes this so controversial. Reasonable belief is subjective. It's not based on what actually would have happened. It's based on what you felt in that moment. Did you think you were in danger? Did you think your life was at risk? If the answer is yes, the law might protect you. The man who shot Octavia claims he saw a gun pointed at him, claims he felt his life was in immediate danger, claims he had no choice but to fire. And in Florida, that might be enough. The case was handed to the Broward County State Attorney's Office. They're reviewing everything: witness statements, forensic evidence, the surveillance footage, the timeline of events. They're asking who started the argument, who escalated it, who was armed, who made the first threatening move. But here's the problem. If the answers to those questions are unclear, if there's any possibility the shooter genuinely felt threatened, the case falls apart. Because in Florida, when there's doubt, it favors the person holding the gun. This isn't the first time Stand Your Ground has protected someone in a situation like this. Tampa, 2023. A bar fight turns deadly. One man shoots another during an argument. Claims self-defense. No charges filed. Miami, 2024. Road rage incident. Driver shoots at another car. Claims they felt threatened when the other driver approached their window. No charges filed. Orlando, 2024. Two men argue over a parking space at a shopping mall. One pulls a gun, the other shoots him. Claims self-defense, no charges filed. And now Octavia Stewart, Christmas night, Lauderhill, a parking lot argument. The pattern is the same. An argument escalates. Someone feels threatened, someone dies, and the person who pulled the trigger goes home. As of right now, Octavia's family is waiting, hoping, praying that the state attorney will see this differently. The state attorney has three options. 1. Charge the shooter with second-degree murder. Argue that the shooting wasn't justified, that Octavia's actions didn't warrant deadly force. 2. Charge him with manslaughter, a lesser charge that acknowledges he killed her, but argues the circumstances were less clear-cut. 3. Rule it justifiable homicide. Decide that under Stand Your Ground, the shooter was within his legal rights. No charges, no trial, case closed. If they choose option 3, there's no jury, no courtroom testimony, no chance for Octavia's family to present their side. Just a letter that says, "We've reviewed the evidence. No prosecution will occur." Do you think Stand Your Ground laws protect innocent people? Or do they give people a legal way to kill someone and walk free? This isn't a hypothetical question anymore. This is Octavia's reality. Drop your honest take in the comments. And if you're still not subscribed, I want to know why. Not in a guilt trip way. I genuinely want to hear what's holding you back. Maybe you think we're missing something. Maybe you disagree with how we're presenting this. Go to the comments and tell me, because if you're watching this far, something about this story matters to you. In the days after Octavia's death, her sister posted something on social media. She wrote, "Dear sister, I don't know how to say goodbye to you. You were such an amazing person, and the world feels different without you in it. Thank you for the memories, the big ones and the small ones. Thank you for the moments you made me laugh, the times you understood me without words. I wish I had more time with you. There are still things I want to tell you. This isn't goodbye forever. It's goodbye for now. Rest peacefully. I love you." 20 years of sisterhood, 2 decades of inside jokes and late-night phone calls and shared secrets. Gone in the time it takes to pull a trigger. Octavia's wife hasn't spoken publicly, not on camera, not in interviews. Reporters reached out, offered platforms, asked for statements. She couldn't. The grief is too raw, too immediate, too all-consuming. How do you put into words the fact that your partner went outside to argue about a parking spot and never came back? How do you explain to your daughter why mommy isn't here for breakfast the morning after Christmas? Octavia's daughter is young. She opened presents that morning. She probably ate too much candy. She probably fell asleep on the couch while the adults talked outside. And when she woke up, her mother was gone. Not in the hospital, not injured, gone. Every Christmas for the rest of her life will be tied to this. Not joy, not presents, not family gatherings. Just the night her mama didn't come back inside. Residents of Sunny Lake Apartments say they don't feel safe anymore. Not because there's an active threat roaming the complex, but because the threat is knowing that you can argue with a neighbor over something meaningless and end up dead, and the person who killed you might never see a courtroom. One neighbor, speaking anonymously to local news, said, "We all knew there was tension. We all heard them arguing, but nobody thought it would end like this. How do you predict that? How do you know when to call the police versus when to just mind your business?" That's the question haunting everyone who was there that night. Should someone have called 911 earlier in the day? Would it have mattered? Would police have done anything about 2 neighbors arguing in a parking lot? Or would they have told them to work it out like adults? There are no good answers. If this was your family, if your sister, your wife, your mother was killed on Christmas over a parking spot, would you trust the justice system to handle it? Or would you feel abandoned? Tell me honestly in the comments.
Now, police say they have identified everyone who was involved in this, including witnesses. They say all of them are cooperating. No one has been arrested. Lauderhill police detectives are still investigating this case. So if you have any information, call Broward County Crime Stoppers at numbers 954-493-TIPS.
As of today, no charges have been filed. The man who shot Octavia Stewart is free, not on bail, not awaiting trial. Free, he's at home, going about his life, while Octavia's family plans a funeral. The state attorney's office is still reviewing the evidence. They could make a decision any day, or it could take months, but for now, Octavia's family waits. This case isn't just about Octavia Stewart in a Christmas parking lot in Lauderhill, Florida. It's about how we handle conflict, what we're willing to fight for, what we're willing to die for. It's about pride, about the moment when standing your ground becomes more important than going home alive. And it's about a legal system that's supposed to protect us, but sometimes feels like it protects the wrong person. Was this murder or was this self-defense? I don't have the answer. The state attorney doesn't have the answer yet. And honestly, I'm not sure there is a right answer. She had a gun. He had a gun. Both of them thought they were protecting something. Their space, their respect, their family. Only one of them is still alive to tell their side of the story. Here's what I do know. Octavia Stewart didn't deserve to die. She was celebrating Christmas. She made mistakes. She let pride overrule logic. She escalated when she should have walked away, but she didn't deserve a bullet in the head. And maybe, just maybe, if one person in that parking lot had been brave enough to step between them, to physically separate them, to call the police hours earlier, she'd still be here. 2 lessons from this tragedy. First, trust your instincts, but don't let pride overrule them. If an argument escalates and you can feel it turning physical, leave. Walk away. Your life is worth more than your ego. Octavia stood her ground because she felt disrespected. But standing your ground means nothing if you're not alive to talk about it. Second, understand your state's laws. If you live in a stand your ground state, assume the person you're arguing with might be armed. Assume they might use that weapon if they feel threatened. The law doesn't care about fairness. It cares about perceived threat. And perception is everything. What would you say to Octavia's daughter if she could hear you right now? What would you want her to know about her mother? Put it in the comments. She might not see it, but someone who needs those words will. To Octavia's wife, her daughter, her sister, and everyone who loved her, your loss is seen. Her name won't be forgotten, and maybe, just maybe, someone watching this will think twice the next time an argument starts to escalate. Maybe they'll be the one who walks away, who chooses life over pride. If you made it to the end, thank you. For listening, for caring, for staying with a story that doesn't have easy answers. Now I want to hear from you. Was the shooter justified, or is this a system failure? Do stand your ground laws protect innocent people, or do they give killers a legal escape route? If you were on a jury, hypothetically, would you convict, or would you let him walk? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one. If this video made you think, if it changed how you see neighbor conflicts or self-defense laws, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to understand what really happened that night. And if you want more stories that matter, stories that make you think, that challenge how you see the world, that honor the people who deserve to be remembered, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because Octavia Stewart's story isn't over. The state attorney still has to make a decision, and when they do, we'll be here to cover it. Thank you for watching to the end, and I will see you on the next episode of Hot True Crime Stories. Stay safe.